Raise your hand if you ever been with a dude that acted like nothing you ever did was good enough. Like you weren't good enough to keep his full attention. You weren't good enough for him to tell other girls that he had somebody already and he wasn't interested. You weren't good enough to tell past flames that they shouldn't be contacting him at all. You wasn't good enough for him to set boundaries with his mama or friend girls. You wasn't good enough for anything. You wasn't good enough for his best efforts, for his conversation on a regular basis, unless it had something to do with what he wanted. Raise your hand if you ever been with a guy who acted like nothing that you did in the relationship was ever good enough for the version of him that you needed. But then after the relationship ended, he popped right back up. He popped back up wanting another chance. All of a sudden, you the prize again. Now, when you was in a relationship with him, you wasn't the prize. You was a chore. You was this obligation he just needed to get away from that was just so taxing, so stressful to deal with. But raise your hand if you ever been with a guy that acted like that in the relationship, but whenever you finally dropped him, gave it a little time, he spun the block. Now all of a sudden he know your worth. Now all of a sudden he realized where he went wrong. Now all of a sudden he want another chance. Now all of a sudden he just checking in to see if everything's okay. Now he want to just congratulate you on how you've been moving, and he's just proud of you, and he just wants to let you know he's proud of you. And raise your hand down in the comments if you ever been with a guy like that. In a relationship now, you trying to get the best out of this man. You trying to communicate with this man. You're trying to keep up romance with this dude. You need him to do X, Y, and Z, and you letting him know. And there's just all of this pulling like away from you, or this resistance against you. It's like, dang. And criticism is coming left and right. He annoyed, he aggravated, he mad, he stressed, he shutting down, all of these different things in the relationship. And it's like night and day. Because when you finally say enough is enough and you give up on the relationship, you give up on him, you don't have any more hope, you don't have any more TED Talks or explanations that he should already know. Like, when you finally done, a little bit of time go by, a couple of business days, and he popped right back up. This man disappeared for however long he disappeared. He was fine, he was cool, he living his best life. And then he popped right back up. Seems like every dud I've ever done. Exactly how it go. Look, I know what I'm talking about. I got this question a little while ago because I haven't done this masterclass in some months, but I happened to come across it this morning, going through my emails, and a sister was asking, like, why is it that guys do this? Apparently that's a normal thing. And for her, that happened multiple times. And she was like, why is it that? Why is it that it takes a man losing something first to realize what he had all along? And then it's like, even afterwards, like, you can't even capture the version of you that cares or is interested or anything like that. So it's like, basically, why is it that a guy is going to disappear and then pop back up after it matters? Like, it doesn't matter anymore. And I told her, like, first we had a little bit of back and forth because I'm like, let me get some context. It's possible a dude would do that, and maybe there's been growth. Maybe he went to go see the lady. Maybe he got delivered from demons. Maybe whatever. He did the ayahuasca mushroom. But after hearing her story, it sounded like a lot of y'all's story. And I'm gonna tell you something. One reason why, there's a few, but one reason why a guy would disappear and then pop back up all of a sudden is because you passed the threshold. Y'all don't realize that. You passed the threshold. Men who play in your face or take you for granted, they do so because there's a comfort in their mind that either you ain't going nowhere, or if you do mess around and say, I'm gone, I'm done, eventually you're going to come back. And there's a threshold in their mind. But whenever you pass that threshold, when you get past that, now he's in the unfamiliar. He had it all figured out in his mind. He had it all planned out. She gonna leave me probably about a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month. In that time, this is a man's mind. If he take you for granted, and he got that comfort he done established in his mind of what's going to happen if you decide to leave. Yeah. She gonna leave, and guess what? She gonna come right back in a month because she gonna miss me, or she gonna realize ain't nobody out here that love her like me. Dudes won't say this a lot of times. Don't nobody else out here want you, but a guy will really get in his mind. Don't nobody else actually want you. Like they just gonna want to sleep with you, or they're not gonna really want to love you. And then dudes will get it in their mind that you need another man in order to leave them. So once you pass that threshold of whatever amount of time he had in his mind, it was going to take for you to come back, and you don't fold. Now all of a sudden he's going to start panicking. Now Now he's going to start panicking because he's in unfamiliar territory. You see, maybe in the past he had other chicks, and this is exactly what happened. They get out there, maybe they need money. You know what I'm saying? So they come on back. Maybe they're just hurting so bad, and they kind of spin the block. When the dude got that in his mind, he got it set, he'll disappear because he's comfortable. He's good. He's good. He knows what's going to happen. But the moment you go 2 months, he thought it was going to be a month. You go 6 months, he thought it was going to be a month. Now, he can't even enjoy whatever it was he thought he was going to do in this little hiatus where y'all are not dealing with each other. He can't even enjoy it no more. Now, when everybody asks him, hey, what happened to you, old girl? His voice kind of trembled. His lip, it started trembling. He ain't got no more confidence. He used to say it with his chest. Oh, whatever, man. You know, that girl was tripping. But guess what? Watch when she get out here. Watch when she get out here and she see how these dudes do her and they really don't care about her. He said all of that with all of that in his chest before. But the moment you pass that threshold and you don't fold, he gonna pop back up. He need to get an understanding now. He needs some clarity. What's going on here? What got into you? Where you got all this self-esteem all of a sudden? What got into you? You, like, in his mind, before you couldn't live without him. Before you was a king, but he was a king to you. Before he had you wrapped around his fingers, so he thought. Before you couldn't see no other man but him. Before you had all of these dreams and thoughts of the future with him. So how is it, boom, you just cut that off and you just gave up on him? He's not going to be able to make sense of that. So a man will pop back up, even after he took you for granted, even after he disappeared. Maybe he ghosted you. Maybe he broke up with you. A lot of times they don't really break up. They'll just sabotage you until you finally are the one that says, I got to let go. But when you ain't sitting there waited with bated breath for closure or some type of explanation and you actually let that man go, he's going to pop back up. Because now he's going to want some understanding. Let me see what you said. Genovia says, what about if it happens in a friendship between a man and woman and there was no sexual relationship involved? A friendship is a little bit different because most times you're not going to put forth everything you got. Like you're not going to establish that soul tie and everything like that. But if it happens in a friendship, the only thing I can think about is that's his idea of a friendship. But see, when you're in a romantic relationship with a man, he knows what your needs are. He knows it takes a full effort to give you what you need. And as long as he thinks that your appetite is so great for that, he may have it in his mind that you can't go get that appetite fulfilled anywhere else. And I'm not talking about necessarily another man. Like sometimes, and I say this honestly with as much respect as I can, some dudes are so dumb, they'll mistake a loyal woman's love as obsession, dang near worship, like you're not okay without them. Like you couldn't be okay. They'll mistake it. If they've never experienced a love like yours, they can misinterpret it as weakness. You know how to say, don't take my kindness for weakness? A dummy will literally take your love for weakness. He'll mistake your love for an inability to leave him if he's not loving you correctly. And unfortunately, instead of saying, how can I match this love that she's given? How can I give her the feeling like I'm just so into her? You know, I just worship the ground that she walks on. He says, well, I get to now enjoy the fruits of that, the benefits of that without putting in any work. I'm gonna just go over here and do my thing. Kind of set it and forget it. And if she ever leaves, I know how deeply invested she was. So I'll be able to get her back. A dude will literally have false confidence that he can still maintain access to you, even if he's broken your heart, disappointed you over and over and over again. If he's dumb. Keeping it real. So that's why a man will pop back up. But there's more. Another reason why a man will pop back up, even after disappearing on you. And I'm not talking about just physically. A lot of times they disappear emotionally and mentally, and you didn't do nothing to deserve it. Because that man hungry. I'm not even talking about physical hunger. Well, that's included. When I say hungry, that like he's starving, like he need help. Something done happened. That man is in desperate need. That when I say hungry, that's the context of that man hungry. He hungry. He hungry. He's not okay. He needs some type of help with something. You see, a man can be hungry in the context of the moment that you left his life, everything started falling apart. You was keeping him in line. You was filling in blanks, dotting I's, crossing T's, where otherwise things would have gotten messed up, or, he would have lost money or lost this or lost that. You was taking care of a lot of the admin in his life. This is for those of y'all especially who get deeply integrated in a man's life. Maybe y'all lived together and you was taking care of all the bills. He paid the bills. Maybe he chipped in on the bills, but you took care of it, make sure everything was on point when it needed to be on point. But if that man hungry, he's in need, he need help, not love. That's what he's looking for anyway. Give it some time. That man life start falling apart. Y'all be the admin in a lot of men's lives. Y'all be running the back office of a lot of men's lives whenever you get deeply integrated in a man's life. And so he think he can fire his star player. And by fire, I don't mean he broke up with you. He may have just played in your face and fired you that way. Like he no longer earned you anymore. But he will pop back up the moment he realizes his life is going down and he can't do nothing about it. Because typically whenever his life is starting to go downhill, you somehow find a way to string things together to make it make sense, which is really supposed to be something either teamwork or the man is supposed to do. But the moment that man life start going downhill, he'll pop back up because he's hungry. Just like a dog that you was feeding. And then when they come back, it'll be a stray dog. When they gonna come back? When they get hungry again. That's one reason why that man will pop back up. Another reason why a man will pop back up even after he disappeared. And I'm talking about emotionally, mentally. He may have disappeared in terms of his character and integrity, or he may have physically just ghosted you, etc. A lot of times a man just wants a reaction out of you. A lot of times a man just wants to get you some type of response, even if it's you saying, I knew you would come back. Just a man knowing that he's worth your energy to respond to him in any kind of way will give him some type of validation or let him feel like he has some type of open door to make more from there. Hey, I just want to let you know I'm sorry for da-da-da-da-da-da. He wants that to feel so good to you that you actually affirm and validate that you got it and you received it. Maybe it's about time or whatever. Any reaction that he can get is better than being ignored continuously. And this is for those of y'all who executed no contact successfully. If you really have put this man out of sight, out of mind, maybe internally you were still hurting. I noticed that a lot of y'all have the ability to walk away from a man that you still love. You have the ability to be hurting over a man, in pain, heartbroken, etc., and literally never talk to him again. I actually salute y'all, but you still do need to do the healing. You still do deserve full healing and full pain relief, and you can't get that. Back to what I was saying though. A man who's been ignored, just to come out from under that rock that you had him under where you weren't giving him any attention, paying him any mind, he'll pop back up with an apology. He'll pop back up with a desire to have sex with you, anything, just to get an expression, just to get a reaction out of you. They say the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is apathy. 48 Laws of Power talks about it. Bad publicity is better than no publicity at all. Basically, even a negative response from you is better than him knowing or him being reminded that he's completely off of your mind for good. There's no power there. There's always power to turn a bad into a good. There's no power to take absolutely nothing and turn it into something. Because energy can't be created, nor it can't be created nor destroyed. It has to be transferred from one party to the next. If there's no energy that you give him, he knows he can't create it. Right? So he's looking for you to transfer some energy out so he can transfer it over into some other kind of significance in your life. Hope I'm making sense to you guys. I know when I get passionate about stuff, man, I start fumbling a little bit over my words. But am I making sense to anybody? Put facts if I'm talking facts. If I'm making sense to you, put facts if okay, I see. Now, I'm going to say this. Matter of fact, I can say this definitively. The most common reason why a man will pop back up after disappearing is because whatever effort he made to replace you failed. Whatever effort he made to replace you, you see, this is the difference between a lot of men and a lot of women. Not all men, but a lot. A lot of men will try to replace you with somebody else they think is better. Some other woman. He judging based off of the version of a woman that he done encountered, and maybe she's a good woman, but he hasn't done to her what he's done to you. And as opposed to a lot of women who will replace a man with her peace. I always tell dudes that, like, dude, if she replaced you with her peace, meaning you were the obstacle in the way of her peace, and she got rid of you to get back to that peace, she ain't coming back. But see, a man is going to pop back up if he try to replace you with what he thought was an upgrade. And here's the reason why. It's not because, there's not other women out there who may be better suited for him. It's not that. It's not that. The problem is a lot of times when a man is taking you for granted, et cetera, looking at other women, he's already absolved himself of the part he's played in the version of you that he's received. Because women are mirrors. Women are mirrors. And so he's absolved himself of his responsibility and what version of you he's inspired that's coming forth in a relationship. So maybe you are a little bit irritable. Maybe you are not as sexual as you once were. Maybe you are not as upbeat and happy and chippy or whatever as you once were. Now, because he don't blame himself at all, he's now looked at you with resentment and contempt, thinking you're a bad person. And he's going over here, or looking out there rather, should I say, at other women and the versions of them he has yet to negatively impact. And then, convinced of his own delusion, he will eventually either sabotage or completely leave you for that which he hasn't yet poisoned, he has not yet infected with his pride, with his ego, with his neglect, with his bad character. He'll go out there, then get her and do the exact same thing to her. Or she realizes the version of him that was coming forth in y'all's relationship, and she's done with him. Then he popped back to you like, oh man, I can see things clearly now. I didn't know what I had when I had it, but I know now. Yeah, I bet you do. But that's not the problem. At some point, you got to realize what you didn't have. And I mean this with love, brothers. I mean this with love. If you're within reach, if you're listening to this point, there's some hope for you. Because the dudes who ain't got no hope, they probably would have cut me off by now, already in my inbox, talking crazy. But for those of y'all who are somewhat sensical, word to the wise, you don't need to be trying to replace that woman with nothing if you don't replace the part of you that ruined what you could have had with that woman. You don't need to, you ahead of the game. Now, if you're a good dude out there, you handling your business, you holding it down, and this woman is just not receptive, and it ain't got nothing to do with you, but you tried. Okay, cool. Go ahead and move on, open yourself up for your blessing. You know what I'm saying? Cool. I'm not against men, by the way. I'm against cowards. I'm against beta males. But for alpha males out there, y'all already really know that. What I'm saying. You can't go out here and think you're going to just keep replacing your way towards the woman of your dreams. Like, first and foremost, you got to understand, if you're really a leader, that you're going to be the one to lead her into whatever version of her you get. She's going to be responding to you. If she's safe and secure, she's going to respond to you in a way that maximizes whatever it is that you got going on that's creating that safety and security. If you're edifying, if you build her up, if you're attentive, if you prioritize her, she's going to reflect back to you the fullness of the love she's capable of, because she ain't got to think twice about whether or not her cup is going to get poured into. She's going to overflow you. Any woman out here can vouch for this. If she ain't got to think twice about the priority she is in your life, if you're attentive to her needs, she never has to go in a protective mode to look out for herself, because you already got that covered. You looking out for her. Now she can fully dive head first into whatever it takes to love and support you. Again, alpha males know this. Alpha males know this. This is why you got beta males always saying how women these days are hyper independent or masculine or not submissive and stuff like that. Brother, she cannot be submissive to inconsistency. I was just saying that to my VIP group this morning. A woman cannot be submissive, feminine. She can't be committed to a man who doesn't qualify for that, because he's uncertain or he's indecisive. And don't get it twisted. Indecision is a decision. But you see, when a man thinks he always can do better, he's not realizing he's the one that's causing those flowers to wilt. Oh, look at this brighter flower over here. But yeah, when you touch it, brother, it wilts for a reason. You're the problem. And what he'll do is come back to you, especially if he see that you done glowed up since him. Especially if he see that. Because now you're the prettier flower that doesn't have his infectious touch. But if you know, like I know, it's nothing to flex about or nothing to be proud of. If it's every single time you get invested into a guy, he just doesn't know what he got until it's gone. I'm going to tell you why that is. Because you're dealing with men who don't know who they are. You're dealing with men who are not alpha males. Alpha male is not about a man who beats his chest. It's not a man who's just, stands a certain physical stature, which that's good, but that's not an alpha male. An alpha male is somebody who's really done the work on themselves. They know who they are. They know what their masculine frame is. Therefore, they know how a good woman can integrate into that and how they can keep that good woman in the best condition and make her even in better condition as time goes on. That's an alpha male. And a lot of y'all have never experienced the most feminine version of yourself, the most safe and secure version of yourself, because you've never dealt with an alpha male on any serious level. You may have seen it, but you've never dealt with a true alpha male. And the only reason why that is because you don't know how to position yourself. You don't know how to attract alpha males. It's completely different than what you've been doing to attract the same type of beta males you've been running into. And if you want to know, don't trip. Big bro got you. I put the link down here in the comments. This masterclass has been down for a couple of months. I just put it back up. If you want access to the secrets to attracting alpha males only, I literally laid it out. I gave the game away again for free. Secrets to attracting alpha males only. I put that down here. It's a free class. It's less than an hour. It's not even that long. I get straight to the point and give you step after step after step if you want to attract alpha males who bring out the most feminine version of you, because they understand how to create safety and security, because they've dealt with the insecurities in themselves. The link is also in the caption, wherever you see the link. If you're on YouTube, it's probably in the description or something like that. But the link is down here. Moral of the story is, that man will pop back up if he sees you doing better. That man will pop back up if he knows he's doing worse without you. And it don't matter how much he took you for granted, If he ever saw a version of you that was so vulnerable, so susceptible to his lies, to his manipulation, he's going to try again. Just make sure when he comes and knocks on that door, he don't get no answer. If anything, if you go answer with the shotgun in your hand, tell him to get off your property. Because he going to try. If you ain't experienced that man popping back up, but he took you for granted and you gave your best self, he's going to spin the block. He's going to come back. He's going to knock on that door to see if it'll open one more time, so he can waste your time all over again. Now, I think the best response is no response at all, no energy at all. But if you got to respond, please let it be with a shotgun in your hand, telling him to stop trespassing and get off your property ASAP. Figuratively speaking, of course. But those are just my thoughts. Share this if this resonated with you in any shape, form, or fashion, so other people just like you can also get blessed by this. I'm your internet big brother, just looking to look out for you, per usual. And if you want more, if you want the secrets to attracting alpha males only, who already understand this, but you ain't been attracting them. This is only for those of y'all who truly want an alpha male, who can bring out the most feminine version of you. The link is right down here in the comments. Click that link. Get access to the free masterclass, Secrets to Attracting Alpha Males Only. Okay? I've also put the link in the caption, or if you're on here, you see a link down. Just get access to it. Again, it's not even that long. It's like less than an hour. Where I get straight to the point.